Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you could strum through a song called Happy Xmas by John Lennon, or War is Over. And we're going to start on an A major chord and kind of walk through an easy way to play it, and then we'll talk about some embellishments, and then we'll talk about some more embellishments. But the way you play A major, first finger is going to go to the D on the 2nd fret, second finger on the G string 2nd fret, and third finger on the B string on the 2nd fret. It's a big party on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord. It sounds really, really happy. And then from the A major chord, we go into a B minor chord. If you know the bar B minor, you do your first finger across the entire 2nd fret, second finger on the B string, the 3rd fret, third finger on the D 4th fret, pinky on the G string 4th fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a B minor chord. It sounds really, really sad. Now a good substitute for that, if you're just starting out though, is to take the first finger and go to the A string on the 2nd fret, second finger on the G string 2nd fret, third finger on the high E string on the 2nd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that's another way you can play your B minor chord. It sounds really sad. And then from the B minor, we're going to be going to an E major chord. The way you play E major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the 1st fret, second finger on the A string 2nd fret, and third finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E major chord. It sounds really, really happy. And then from the E major, we're going to be going to an A major chord. So we're kind of going back to the A at the end of our verse. Now this particular song is in what's called 3/4 time. So one of my favorite strum patterns for a 3/4 like this is down, down, up, down, up. So if you took the A and just tried that a lot, you'd have down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we try that through our verse. We'd have A, down, up, down, up, A, B minor, our pre-chorus part. And our pre-chorus starts on D major. So we got first finger on the G string 2nd fret, second finger on the high E on the 2nd fret, third finger on the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that'll get your clearest sound of that. That's called D major, and it sounds really, really happy. And then from our D major, we're going to be going to an E minor. We're going to play E minor. First finger goes to the A on the 2nd fret, second finger goes to the D on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. And from the E minor on the pre-chorus, we go to A major, and then we kind of end up back on our D major at the end of our pre-chorus. So we tried our pre-chorus with our strum pattern. We'd have B, down, up, down, up, B, D, but now in D major instead of A major. And then from there, we go into our chorus part. And our chorus starts on a G major chord. We play G major. First finger goes to the A on the 2nd fret, second finger on the low E string on the 3rd fret, and the third finger goes to the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord. It sounds really, really happy. And then from the G major, then we go to A major. Kind of do 4 A's. And then we end up on our E minor chord. And then we go to our G major chord, and then we go to D major, but then we go to E major to kind of set ourselves up to go back to our first part. So we tried our chorus with our strum pattern. We'd have G, G, A major, E minor, G major, D major, about adding to the song though is bass notes, and a lot of times on that first down of the down, down, up, you kind of throw in bass notes for the chord. So on the A major, you have the A string for the bass. On the B minor, you have the A string for the bass. On E major, you have the low E for the bass. And on the A, you'd have the A for the bass. On the D, you'd have the D for the bass. On E minor, you'd have low E for the bass. And then when we get to our chorus part, on your G chord, you have the low E for the bass. And on the A, we got the A for the bass. E minor's low E bass. G with low E bass. And then we have D with the D bass. And then we have our E major with our low E bass. They kind of try that next verse with bass notes, we'd have A with an A bass, B minor with an A bass, B minor with an A bass, and you may want to just use the basses sometimes, not all the time. So the way to kind of mix it up too. And then from there, then we'd be going into our pre-chorus parts. We try our pre-chorus with basses. We'd have D with a D bass. Our Louis bass, A with an A bass, D with a D bass, and then if we try our chorus with bass notes, then we have G with Louis bass, and we have our A with an A bass, and we have E minor with Louis bass, G with Louis bass. Next verse. Now there's some other cool chords where you could kind of get some cool licks going on around these chords that we're working right now. So on that verse, you may want to think about taking the A major, and then if you lift off the third finger of that, that kind of makes that an A sus2 or an A suspended second. And then if you took the pinky and kind of added it in on the B string on the 3rd fret, that would make an A sus that you could kind of use for the A, and then kind of resolve it back to the A major. So on the A majors, you may want to kind of think about kind of moving between those chords to kind of bring out that melody note. And then from there, on the B minor chord, and this is a little tricky, but on the bar B minor, if you kind of lift off the second finger, which is like the dangerous finger to lift, that would sound something called B minor sus2 or B sus2. And then from there, you could even kind of lift off the pinky from that to kind of get into the B string on the 5th fret to kind of make a B sus or a B7 sus. And then kind of resolve that back to the B minor. So you may want to kind of think about using those melody notes on the B string while you're on the B minor chord. And then on the E major chord, you may want to start with 2nd finger on the A string, 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the D string 2nd, and the pinky on the G string 2nd. And if you strum all those together, that sounds something like an E suspended. And then you can kind of resolve that to the E major chord. And then if you're a little bit more adventurous, you can kind of take, you could even lift off the 3rd finger for this, and kind of add in the pinky on the D string on the 4th fret, and kind of get an F sharp note. That would be like an E major 9. And then kind of go back to the E major at the end. So on the E major, you may want to kind of do the E sus, then the E, and then the E major 9, and then back to the E major. And then you can kind of go back to your A licks at the end of the verse. So we tried it that way. You have A sus 2, A sus, A, B minor, B sus 2, B7 sus, E minor, E sus, E major, E major 9, A major, A sus 2, B sus, A. You can kind of play around with those bass notes through that part too. On your D chord, you can kind of lift off the 2nd finger of that, and that would make something called D sus2. And then if you take your pinky, you can kind of add him in on the high E on the 3rd fret for a D sus, and then you can kind of go back to the D major. And on the E minor chord, so while you're on the D, you may want to kind of play around with it, kind of moving those around. And on the E minor chord, this is a little weird. You can almost kind of take the pinky and add it in on the high E on the 3rd fret to start it off, and then kind of slide that back or go to 2nd fret on the high E string and make that an E minor 9. And then you can almost kind of cheat this next one and do just 1st finger on the A to kind of get the pinky all the way to the high E on the 4th, kind of like an E minor sus almost. And then you can kind of come back to your E minor. So while you're on your E minor, you may want to think about kind of adding in those high E string. And then for the A major, we can kind of keep our sus licks going for our A. So we tried our pre-chorus that way. You'd have D, B sus 2, B sus, D, B minor, E minor 9, E minor 11, E minor, A sus 2, A sus, A, into our chorus. So then we have our G, G, A with an A bass, harmony bass, booty bass, C with a D bass, A with a D bass, and then from there, then we'll be going back into kind of our verse part for our outro. So we're back on that. Minor. Want to kind of take all those ideas and kind of mix them up a little bit, and kind of see what you want to say with it too. And that can be very cool to kind of play around with those shapes too. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Happy Xmas by John Lennon. So good luck!